ToMolly.
Welcome to Friends of Gameology, hosted by MoonlightCrew.com.
Reviews for science.
In 7 minutes or less. Nightfall. Nightfall is a deck-building game, a horror deck-building game with vampires and werewolves and ghouls and hunters. And instead of taking the tack of trying to get the most points in your deck at the end of the game, instead you're trying to give the most wounds to everyone else. The person who wins is the person with the least amount of wounds in their deck at the end of the game. And so cards will attack. There's the minions who can attack for their attack power, and then there's cards that can just give wounds as an action. And you will try to divvy up the wounds as best as you can to everyone else that isn't you. You want to make sure that people think you have more than you do so you can stay in the running. Let's talk simplicity versus complexity.
So this game is your typical deck builder. When you gain cards, they go to the discard pile, and then when you need to shuffle, you reshuffle all of them. And so it works that same way. Some things that are different are there's a common set of 8 cards out here that you can purchase. But then everyone has their own personal archive that they can purchase from.
2.
And only they can purchase from it unless you have specific card text that says otherwise, right? So only I can purchase these 2, so these aren't going to run out. I know that. But these could run out. And so that's one thing that's different. The other thing that's different is these moons, these color moons up here on each card. Because on everyone's turn, anyone that has a matching moon color can play cards. So if I play a blue and it goes around the table and someone else has a blue they want to play, then they can play that blue. So whatever my small moons, see these small moons are different, whatever my small moons lead to, that's what someone else can play. And so because of that, that makes it a little bit more complicated. And I don't know how many times, I mean, we've explained this multiple times to new players, and there's always questions about that. But usually they get it about halfway through the game. If not, maybe at the end of the first game, they know how to play, and they know what they would do differently. So as far as simplicity versus complexity goes, it's more complex than your base deck building game, but it's not over complex.
This game is difficult in that when we've introduced it to people who haven't played Magic the Gathering, they do not understand the text. Because if you've played Magic the Gathering, you say, okay, that's trample, that's first strike. But if you haven't played and you don't know what I'm saying right now, when you're reading these things, that's going to be foreign to you. And it's not written in such a way that has a lot of clarity. It's not written so that you innately understand it by reading the card. There's always been arguments like, what does that mean? And we have to say, well, if you played Magic, you would know it gets redirected to you. And they're like, well, how do you know that? It reads differently. And you're like, trust me. So I find this game to be very simple. I've played Magic the Gathering. A lot of people we've played with, they stumble. They really do. And so that's something you have to take into consideration. Luck versus strategy.
There is a lot of luck. No, I didn't mean to say that. There is some luck in that what you have in your personal archive compared to someone else's personal archive, but there's also the drafting element. So you choose what you have, right? So what you start with in the beginning is luck, but from there I think there's a lot of strategy. And when you choose to play your cards, you choose to play them before your turn so that hopefully they'll be out so you can attack. Do you choose to play them on your turn so you can defend? What do you choose to purchase? The whole, when you chain things, that's when you play them out, moon to moon to moon to moon, because you can play multiple cards. How well do you do that? I think there's a lot of strategy that is deep in this game, and it has to do with colors, which is pretty fantastic. And so I think this game is pretty strategic.
This game is 100% strategic. There's a draft to decide which cards go in the center and which cards you put in your personal archives, and I will often make what you would think would be subpar choices because I am trying to get a better strategy. The colors leading to each other, trying to starve your opponents from playing cards on your turn, or trying to skip over a certain one that you know has very strong cards, that's all strategy. What you do in this game matters so much. The decisions you make are just crucial the entire time. Who you attack, it all makes a difference at the end when you count up those points. Those negative points. This game is super strategic.
I forgot to mention table talk. So I think you're going to move on to fun versus boring.
I'm about to move on to fun versus boring.
But table talk, this game has a lot of table talk, which we didn't really mention very much of. So that also adds to the strategy. Like, oh, I'm not in first, attack them. I'm not. So that does lend itself to that.
Fun versus boring. This game is so much fun. This game is in my top 5 games of my top favorite games, top 5. And it's been there for years, and I suspect it'll stay there for a while. I mean, I'm not saying it couldn't get pushed out, but I love this game. The strategy is why. sometimes it's a little tough because you're attacking people and you don't want that direct confrontation. But just the mechanic of playing the cards with colored moons leading to other cards makes for such a fun strategy game. It's very, very fun. And I typically pull this out and play it with new people. I recommend it, and I've enjoyed it literally every time I've played.
I don't find this game as fun as Tom, but I do find this game to be fun. I like that everyone's turn matters because you can do something on everyone's turn possibly, right? And so it gets you involved in the game, even though sometimes people take a little bit to resolve their cards. That's okay because the next turn I'm invested because can I play on this turn? Can I do something? Am I going to be attacked? I like that about this game. And so I enjoy this game, and I enjoy the depth of strategy. You can just like Tom said, inflict direct damage or use attack. I mean, that's just one of the small strategies. So I really like that aspect of the game. On BGG,
I would give this a 10 out of 10.
I would probably give this a 7.
Always ready to play. Never turn it down.
Yeah, solid game. Every time we get to multiples of 500 subscribers on YouTube, we give away a free glitter painting of your favorite geeky thing. So make sure to subscribe now.
Because it could be you that wins.
Nightfall. We've presented the evidence.
You be the judge.